Patrick McNair, and I'm your host of This Is Real. This is Raleigh. Thank you guys for joining myself, and I have TJ Mims and Jeremy Pittman Jr. Today's episode of This Is Real. This is Raleigh. All right. Today, these young men have agreed to join me and take part in this podcast, not knowing what we're going to talk about today. So, just as my MO states, it's off the cuff, it's kind of ad hoc, and they have no clue of what we're going to talk about today. So let's go ahead and dig in. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So TJ, as the CEO of Circuit Tech Solutions, give me a brief background of who you are and what your company is doing.
I'm currently a college student at Wake Tech. I have been in the tech industry for about maybe 4 or 5 years now, with me even being in high school, with 2 of my years being spent at also Wake Tech, taking more programming classes then and there. What we do here at Circuit is we're just trying to build, we're trying to make sure that there's, especially with how technology has been moving in the last couple of years, and even currently right now, there's just a lot of ideas, a lot of creativity, and we just want to help bring those creativity to life, bring those designs to life. Either that being, a website for a small company, or even a big company, or even just a small program to help make things more effective for everybody.
Okay. All right. And Jeremy, let's talk about you. Give me your background. Like, where are you from?
Well, I'm from Raleigh. I'm also currently a college student. I'm not as experienced with TJ when it comes to the technology field, but I'm not completely new. I had some experience in high school, and I'm currently majoring in cybersecurity.
All right. Cyber. Okay, got it. And what's your passion? Like, why cybersecurity? Is that a passion of yours, or you just identify a need? What is it?
It's a passion of mine. I've always really enjoyed technology since I was a kid. I've always liked messing around with computers, seeing how they work, how to build them. And as I've grown older, I haven't really enjoyed hardware as much now. And it's really TJ, we're really close friends. And being around him so long, I've kind of gravitated more towards software.
Okay. So cybersecurity. So I have a background in cybersecurity also, right? So you may not have known that. And at one point in time, myself and a buddy actually started a cybersecurity firm, right? There's a lot of growth and opportunity in cybersecurity. Everywhere you look, whether it be a Henry Schein, a Staples, local municipalities are all being victims now of ransomware, right? So it's like there's an opportunity for these individuals, these municipalities, these industries, these companies to harden their networks and their infrastructure so that they're not a victim of ransomware. Is that where you see yourself fitting in, or do you foresee yourself being on the other side of, well, when they are a victim, are you going to try to, help them recover? What do you see?
I haven't really completely explored all the jobs that come with it.
Okay.
I know it's a growing industry. I've had people around me that are involved in it too. That's really what's got me doing it. So.
All right. Again, huge opportunity. Right. It doesn't matter if it's public or private sector, but it's a huge opportunity. Mm-hmm. And especially with you guys' company, if you had a branch or an offshoot of your company, Circuit Tech, who specialized in those network hardening skills, it can be very lucrative. Right. Very lucrative. So TJ, I'm guessing that you were the founder of this company, right? So this was your brainchild. Yeah. What made you decide that you wanted to do this?
Recently, during these last couple years, I really just been spent a lot of my time working on just different certifications, just different languages. I found myself doing web development purely because I actually wanted to do the back end. Feel like being a full stack developer is where I wanted to be, starting with front end being first and then being able to do back end of websites. And I started just learning how to do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript by myself. Made a couple websites for some friends and family. And then I was like, okay, so I'm pretty good at it. So then I started realizing that there's a market out there for plenty of people that, sure, they may either have a website or don't have a website, but it can obviously be enhanced with code It could help market better to what they're actually trying to sell, either that being a product or service. And I realized that, that's where I want to be. Hopefully, Circuit is actually made for a lot more. We are planning on starting doing mobile development going into 2024. So hopefully, mobile development for a lot of companies is also insanely huge. I worked with some people at a Department of Information Technology, so that's kind of also where I was learning where to necessarily put myself in the market to make sure that I am able to compete with AI, especially with how there's a lot of these, creative AI builder or script AI builder. So it's like being able to make sure that you are effectively building a company that is going to withstand this new wave of AI, but also bringing like a good product and a service that is helpful to all people.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm sitting there thinking, I've seen all the ads, I've seen the posts on Instagram where you can recreate or replicate somebody else's website using the AI, a bot, right? In minutes, literally minutes. So why does someone pay Circuit Tech Solutions whatever fee they're asking to build and develop and code and do all the testing and back and forth, when they can just run out and go to a chat GPT or another platform and just say, create me a website that looks like this, and I'll also send me an app, create me an app, or give me the code to an app. Yeah. Why you?
So one thing that I actually, with a couple other developers that we talk with, the biggest thing that comes with this new wave of AI is it's when it comes to actually knowing the skills of programming or just coding at its own. Yes, you can get an AI to do it, but then it comes to how you view something, like your creative, your idea, your design can't necessarily always be replicated or explained directly by putting in the chat and being like, oh, I want it to look exactly like this. You can copy someone else's idea, exactly as you said. That is very much prominent in the AI community. But even in doing that, there's also this thing of, if this is your idea and you see it how you want it to be at a certain type of way, you can't do that unless you do it yourself, or obviously you find someone with the correct skill. I actually recently came across this app, this AI app, and it was literally like if you wrote out your entire idea of how you wanted the app to look, where it was images, it explained how you wanted it to work, you put that right into the AI, and it would spit out like a program more or less of what you wanted to do. So if you wanted to make like a mock-up iPod, you type in like, hey, 3 buttons, I want to go up and down, You could do all those same things, and it's like, yeah, sure enough, that gets you where you want. But let's say you wanted an actual iPod. It's a lot more complex than just putting it into an AI and just being like, okay, I have this basic feature. Sure, but if everyone has that same basic feature, what makes your product better than someone else's? That's why you would want to go to someone who's a professional license, and that's why you go to Circuit. There's tons of different services that have the same exact website layout. It's just a picture, title, go down to services, 4 boxes about what you do. You go down, you just have pricing. Everyone has that same layout, sure, just different colors. That's what 90% of different service websites look like. Mm-hmm. But then, and again, that's simply, you could probably use an AI to get that, or you just run off a random template you found. But when you go to Circuit, you come with a team of designers who make sure that your work is different. Your work actually defines what your company is. So when someone goes to your website, you're not just thinking like, dang, okay, sure, they do ABC, but we can also see that they make sure that their online presence is notable, recognizable, and different, showing that they don't just take pride in their service, but they also take pride in their company as a whole.
And like you said, with the service, if something goes wrong, you're pretty much on your own just with the AI. And if you're not really super experienced, it's not really going to help you a lot. With us, we have people ready to help you.
Okay. So all that sounds great. All right. So I'm a small business owner. I'm just opening my business tomorrow. I don't care about the other details, right? Being different from my competitor. I just need an online presence so I can get people in the door, right? So I'm just playing devil's advocate right now, right? And so for your company right now, the struggle is going to be the price that you're wanting to pay or charge for website development versus this free or this $19 AI bot that's going to get me what I need to get just to get up and running, right? Mm-hmm. So how have you guys addressed that with your marketing or your social media presence or your pitch when you're talking to other people? How have you addressed that?
You want to talk about the deal?
The deal?
Yeah.
So right now we're starting up. We officially launch on January 1st.
All right.
But we've been giving pitches to different business owners. And right now we're running a deal. We're basically not, they don't have to pay for the actual website development. We'll give that away for free as long as they give us a testimonial and review, obviously, try to spread the word. That helps with some marketing also.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not completely free. They'll still have to pay the monthly fee. And there's different levels. There's the lowest level, the middle level, and the highest level. The middle level, it comes with, correct me if I'm wrong, it's maintenance on your website. Free, you don't have to pay every time you want maintenance on your website. And the highest level is you can have additions to your website without having to pay. So if you think, oh, I want to add something new, you can just call up and we'll do it free charge.
So was there a time frame associated with that free deal, or is this for life? If I sign up with you for life and you're going to do my maintenance for free?
With the once you so piggybacking after you if you free website, the monthly payment that comes with that monthly payment. So as soon as the monthly payment also includes like your hosting. So obviously that's us keeping your website up, and then that also. So yes, the maintenance would come in that monthly payment. So as long as you obviously you keep paying for the hosting, then as soon as anything comes up, call us.
Oh, yeah, and I forgot to mention the lowest level is just hosting the website. We'll keep the website up, obviously. You're just paying for the website to be up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so good deal. Good deal. So you guys have been thinking about this and how you're going to attract some customers.
Yeah. So
you guys are from Raleigh, been in Raleigh, live in Raleigh, starting your business in Raleigh. What keeps you here? I can imagine that as young go-getters, there's a whole world out there that I encourage young folks to go see. I actively, and TJ, I've always been go see the world, get away from home. You guys are setting up roots here. You're starting your first big business here. Why?
I think with just the huge push of just technology overall here, either being in Raleigh or Charlotte, because with a lot of our team actually being in Charlotte, and then like our business location is in Charlotte, so we actually kind of bounce between both cities, either doing business in Charlotte and Raleigh. Well, we actually are planning to really take it wherever. Our next kind of push is going into 2024. We are planning to really service, as many cities as needed. But we just think because of Raleigh and just how much it's expanding and the growth and just with technology coming in, that's kind of why we decided, like, okay, let's try and hit Raleigh first. Charlotte, again, a lot of our teammates or the people that we have in our company also live in Charlotte. So we do actively go down to Charlotte quite often in hopes to also pitch some to companies down there. Charlotte's also another big city. We just think there's a lot of thriving technology in the area.
Okay. So what do you like about Raleigh, Jeremy?
I mean, I've been here. I was born in Baltimore, moved here to Raleigh as a kid. So I say I'm from Raleigh because that's where I'm from. That's where I've grown up. And I've seen a lot of change. I've seen a lot of growth. And that's obviously not stopping. So to me, I feel like this is a pretty good place to start a business with technology. And technology is always a growing field. So
you want a family someday? You feel like Raleigh's a good place?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Expensive.
It's expensive.
It's expensive.
Okay. Qualify expensive. What's expensive to you?
I think you could get a house like an hour out from Raleigh for maybe $300,000. Yeah, but then it's like if you're trying to get a townhouse with like owning without renting, you could be looking at millions or at least 400 plus.
Especially
which,
if you're in the 27609.
Yeah. So I feel like some people, obviously you have the money, then it's like by all means. But I think with minimum wages, some of those prices you'd have to make, even to do like a 30 or for 300,000, you need to make at least like 86,000 a year. I think, assuming some 7%. Stuff like that. So I think that's kind of high, especially for the average person at least.
And TJ, I might have given you this advice at one of our mini talks. In life, my advice to people is to figure out what you want, your level of life. Do you want to drive a Mercedes or a Toyota? Right. And then how are you going to get there? What are you going to do to get there? To make enough money to get the Mercedes or the Toyota? You know, you're okay with that. Because at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. No matter how much money you make, you can't take it with you. Nothing. You can take nothing with you. Everything that you have, I'm going to test you. Right? What do you have in life that's yours?
Got the frat pen.
Myself, I mean, are you talking about like
anything.
items
Anything.
in general?
Anything.
Sure.
Life. Anything.
Clothes?
No.
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 PlayStation?
No.
None of that.
Nothing.
Really?
From the time you enter,
Really?
I'm gonna tell you
Fraternity
why.
pin? My fraternity pin?
It's not yours. You're borrowing it.
Mm-hmm.
You have possession of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not yours. Because at some point in time, it's going to pass away. You're going to pass away.
Mm-hmm.
Even down to the breath in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Let me back it up. The womb that you were in, that was a borrowed residence. You had to give it back to your mama. The breath that you take in is not your own. You have to borrow it, use it, and then push it back out. The skin on your body, where's it going back to?
The dirt.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
When people understand that everything that you have is borrowed, you'll have a different relationship with money and things, right? You can't take it with you. Everything that you do is for the comfort of your life right now. So you always have to remember that. How much do you want to acquire? How much do you need to acquire in life to be satisfied, to be happy? And once you figure out what that is, you'll be a lot more successful in life and in business getting where you want to be. Let's talk about some other current events that have been in the news lately. A couple of weeks ago, students were stabbed over at Southeast Raleigh. And I know you have a connection with Southeast Raleigh, right?
Yeah.
As young people who are in a school environment, you look at what happened at UNLV last week with the shooting, right? The professor who was trying to get a job at UNLV shot some students over at UNLV last week. How do you all deal with situations where you're in a constant alert mode, right? So you're always having to be alert, on guard for a mass shooting or a stabbing or just someone going off in a violent nature. How are you guys handling that? One, when you're out and about, whether it be you're at school or you're at church or in some public setting, and then two, mentally, how's that dealing with that?
Well, it can be draining mentally and emotionally, but I don't know if I speak for everybody, but to be honest, it's gotten to a point where we're starting to get a little numb to that feeling, just because it's becoming so normal. So we're not really walking. Can I speak for you when I say this too? We're not really walking around campus with our head on a swivel. It's just kind of like, if it happens, we'll be ready and know what to do. Like my school has an app and they alert you. Somebody stole a motorcycle the other day and it sent an alert to my phone. So that's kind of all we have is if somebody's on campus with a gun, you kind of hope the alert gets to you first. If not, we're ready, but we're not worried necessarily. That makes sense.
Yeah. What about you, TJ?
I'm gonna speak for more of a because I'm not always on my campus enough of the time, but I think I do side with you. I'm not. I mean, before when I'll say high school, middle school, elementary, when you're more in that classroom, and middle school, code red. There was a bank next to our school, so it was like somebody was robbing the bank, and it was across the street. So our school went to code red. Obviously, then, not the fact that you're a middle schooler, but you're obviously stuck in the class. You're a little bit more, what's going on? But then it's like, you hear about it every other day, and it's like, it's scary, yes, but then on the other hand, it's like, I mean, to me personally, I feel like, you had to take one day at a time, and you can't. You can be alert, but you can't constantly be like you can't be in a state of
in constant
fear. Because if you live in constant fear, then it's like everything's constant fear.
And it's honestly easier for us to say that because we're in college, but when it comes to high school, middle school, elementary school, I would understand that they're like a lot more scared if something like that were to happen because they're supposed to be completely safe. Where they are. We're on campus. We're our own people. We're adults. We're walking around, but you're in high school, middle school, elementary school. You're under the watch of a teacher constantly. You're not really doing your own thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't leave. Like, not saying that, but it's like, for example, if you're on campus and you get an alert and it's like, okay, the north building, like something's going on, for obvious reasons, I wouldn't go to the north building. But then when your school goes code red, or even if you're like in the bathroom and your school goes code red, you're freaking out because now you got to figure out like, okay, do I get to the nearest classroom? But then you also have no idea where it's at. So let's say like it's going right outside the hallway of the bathroom you're in. So now but you don't know that. There's no way for you to know that. So now you just know your things in code red, and you're like, I gotta get to a classroom. And you walk out, and it's like boom, and that's really it. So I think as for youngers, it's a lot bigger. That's more of that super, I gotta be alert compared to at least us as college students. I mean, obviously, yes, be aware. Don't sit here and walk like nothing. But.
Yeah. Why do you think people in high school, middle school are more apt to be more violent to the point that they're not just getting in fights? Because we used to get in fights in school, right? But now they're eager to take somebody's life about it. Why do you think it's like that nowadays?
Well, I think they're more
desensitized.
Not that susceptible to like being influenced. So, and they're growing up. Like, obviously, we're still growing, but they're younger teenagers, younger kids. And if somebody were to embarrass them or any slightest thing were to happen, I feel like that affects them to a point where it's a lot worse versus somebody who's older and they're trying to figure out how to handle their emotions. They're getting new emotions. And then with internet access, some of their parents don't really limit that.
Yeah.
And they're kind of being desensitized to violence in media. So they're thinking, oh, it's no big deal. This kid's bullying me. I'm going to go kill him instead of just getting into a fight.
So I heard you say parents not monitoring what they're looking at or what they're exposed to. That's hard, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm a big advocate for, like, video games don't create violent people or violent kids. I'm a huge advocate for that, only, purely because I did 2 years of simulation game development at Wake Tech, so it's like we literally sat there and made games. And it's like, also going off of what Jeremy said, it's like I feel like with nowadays, because of how much everything is, with these Gen Zs, and millennial parents, that strictness is a little blurred line. So it's because of that, it's like kids don't necessarily always see their parent as a parent, they see him as a friend. So and then it's like
they're just sticking their kid in front of an iPad.
Yeah, and then when you give them babies with an iPad, don't get me wrong, I don't think like toddlers should not have an iPad. I think especially an adult has maybe 4 or 5, put an iPad in and gets them to be quiet, sure. But then there's also that like, I remember my parents. I was like 15, 16, and they want to let me get Assassin's Creed 2 because it had 18 plus on it.
Yeah,
I
wasn't allowed to play Call of Duty for a while.
And it's like those are the things where it's like that falls on the parent. Sure enough, they could go right back on YouTube and look up Assassin's Creed 2 gameplay. But that's still a different thing of, hey, at least the parent did it's hit their part to obviously, not just, go ahead, do it. Go ahead, do it.
It wouldn't necessarily be wrong if they let them play that. It's talking to your kids.
Yeah, it's
like
explaining what's going on.
Your child, it should be fine. But these parents aren't really talking to their kids. They're spending more time with the iPad, and then they act out, but they didn't see any signs because they don't talk to their kids. So
I also think like they don't think it's. I don't think that they think it's real. Like, for example, like when a kid sees a whole bunch of stuff on social media, especially a whole bunch of violence, everyone sees something on social media, and at first I was like, oh yeah, never let that happen to me, or that'd never be this.
It doesn't hit close to home.
Yeah. And they see it all the
On your screen.
time. So it's then when you so you know when they go and do it in real life, I feel like they think it's like, okay, bro, it's another social media thing, you know, it'll just blow over, and then now they sit in a courtroom with charges, and then that's when reality sits in, like, oh, like I really did this. This is really how it goes. This is kind of what happens, and it's sad, but that's how I feel like, you know, a lot of these younger kids, they really just act on their own. Like they truly move on their own.
So as young entrepreneurs, future leaders in your communities, you know, TJ, I say this again. You know, I've challenged you before to give back,
Yeah.
right? To go back and help, reach back out. As a corporate entity, LLC, what is Circuit Tech going to do? What is TJ going to do? What is Jeremy going to do? Because there has to be a solution, right?
Yeah.
There has to be something that you've identified. What can you do to help?
So our first steps is I went to Brigham Malone Early College Career Academy. That's where I went for high school. We have decided that in 2024 we will be partnering with them to help give some of the students, some of the simulation game development students jobs here, for obvious reasons, just so that they could, you know, if that's not where they see themselves in simulation game development, that's where I didn't see myself. We're also actively trying to give them a job position here, either being an internship, paid or unpaid, and then potentially giving them a job. That's kind of our first steps in helping, you know, there. With us partnering, because of how we are rooted in Raleigh, we are trying to help our community as much as possible. We, for obvious reasons, as we went over earlier, how it's just like, oh, you're talking to the basic startup, you're talking to the, you know, the corporate, what makes you pick going to you first. We're trying to build a community. One of the things that I have avidly spoke for was, if anything, let's be a place that's like, hey, my family friend work with this company, we should go with them. Hey, oh, that's cool, my friend and his family work with this company, let's go for them. And actively making sure that we are constantly giving back and giving an opportunity to help anyone is really, personally, that's really important to me. And being able to have a tech business with a growing, not even just growing market, but just how tech is growing in general also means a lot to me. To know that even down to just building simple software, simple programs that can help anyone is very important to me.
And like you said, with giving back, some of our employees are already signing contracts for our closest friends. But granted, we're not just getting random friends, we're getting people who are actually qualified. But like you said, with giving back, we're giving back to our people.
What about the kid that can't get into the simulation development program?
That's when we would actively, we hope that eventually, once we can start getting a lot of things more flowing, we want to kind of just offer this out as an experience for students, any age, or not necessarily any age, but just as an opportunity to look into what a tech business does. Me, I say that like I've been doing it for years, but I've been actively trying to find, because I've been trying to find, like, you know, it's been constant applying, it's been constant networking, and it's like, I have seen so much of this tech field, but it's like, I haven't, to be honest, I probably have talked to like 3 real developers, to be honest, and even with trying to connect with multiple people, it's just been really hard, and I want to give that opportunity to the same people that have been in that position, where it's like you want to do tech, but like it's hard to put your foot in, or it's you want to do tech and they're telling you got to apply to 50 applications a week, or, you know, though I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but like, you know, connecting with 50 people on LinkedIn every day. Like, I want to give an opportunity to that kid who didn't make it, or that kid where he's like, you know, let's say split household, but he loves sitting at his computer 24/7, and everyone, you know, calls him a nerd, or everyone's like, no, he just sits at home and he just plays video games, or he just sits at home and types on his computer. Like, I want to give that kid a chance. I want to make sure that everyone feels like this is an opportunity that they can grow or at least see what it's like to be in a real workplace environment in tech.
But in order to get to that position where you can help all of those kids, all of those individuals, we've got to take care of first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what can we do to get you guys where you need to be so that you can give back to the community? What do you need?
Clients.
That's the adage. That's what every small business needs, right?
Yeah.
An opportunity.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I would say opportunity for sure. The way we're trying to, at least like our plan of attack right now, like I said with that deal, is we're really trying to offer like, hey guys, like we're not here just to, we just want your money to make you a template site. Like, no, we want to not just build you your vision in real life, but we also want to build this sense of like, hey, let's work together. Let's build something as a group. When we talk to our clients, it's not like, yeah, we'll send you to our developers, da da da. Like, no, we try and make conversation. We try to get to know them because it's
build
not
like connections and have like a reputation.
Yeah.
And see that right there, that word connections, that network. When you sit down with individuals who are decision makers and have a conversation with them, and shake their hand and look them in their eye, and you get them laughing and joking. That's how you're going to break down barriers and get that opportunity, right? Whether it be on the golf course, whether it be a Top Golf or a Drive Shack or something like that, or a go-kart place, in an elevator, sitting at a stoplight, sitting at a pub. Those are your opportunities to make those connections. But taking a little bit further, what I encourage you guys to do is to start going to some networking events in your area.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what we do now.
There are so many different little small groups of people who are just business owners, entrepreneurs who are just trying to get out there. The same thing, the same hunger that you guys have, the same passion. And they're just trying to find a connection with somebody else. Every business is an opportunity to create a website, true?
Yes.
Every business is an opportunity to be a referral to another business who needs a website or an app developer or something like that, right?
Yes.
And so when you don't go to those functions, when you don't make those connections, you're just throwing out those opportunities, right? And it can just be one that lands you in front of the right person, right, to make or break your business. I firmly believe that. So the more opportunities you give yourself, the more opportunities you'll have to be successful. That's my advice to you guys. And so I'd be happy to help you guys get there if I can. With that, let's talk about a few other things. Let's talk about, so Jeremy, I don't know you very well yet, Mr. Pittman Jr. Let's talk about your faith. When it comes to your faith, and I don't know if you've gone to church, been to church, looked at church on TV, whatever. But when it comes to your moral fiber, your character, how does that impact the way you do business?
So I talked to TJ about it. What word did you use? What is it called again? Non-practicing Christian?
Oh,
is that what you said?
Yeah.
So I don't really go to church.
Non-religious
It's not. My family's not really big on religion, but we definitely believe in God. And my mom's from Africa, and there's like spiritual roots within there too. She's from Congo, and with that, I feel like it's just within the individual person. Like if we have some business decisions, and obviously we would benefit financially, but it's terrible morally. I just wouldn't be able to bring myself to do it just because I wouldn't be able to live with myself because the way I've grown up, my parents have embedded a moral compass within me. Like they've let me figure out what's wrong, what's right, and for me, with me, I feel like I have a good sense of morality when it comes to things like that. So with business, it wouldn't really be a faith thing. It would just be like an individual person, like myself, like if I think something's right or wrong.
Okay. What about you, TJ?
I say I follow Christ for sure. I wouldn't say I'm really religious. I go to church, follow my parents, but me personally, I like to read my Bible. I like to pray. I like to when it comes to like business, any big decision, I always pray about it. I always feel like the Lord will tell me what I need to take, even if it is risky, even if it's wouldn't necessarily wouldn't benefit the company at that exact moment. I feel like if that's what the Lord told me, even here, like, today with Circuit, I could tell you about 6 months ago, I feel like God told me that I needed to do something, either working with my brother or focusing on websites, and that's kind of why I kept doing it. I thought I had a basic understanding, good enough to build something nice, and I was going to move on to something else, and I feel like God told me to stay focused and keep working on it, so I spent another 6 months working on it, and then, he told me that, like, being patient for sure. I feel like the Lord is going to bless 2024 heavily, especially the first 6 months. I've been saying that to Jerm for a while now, that those first 6 months is going to go crazy. I can't speak too much for the last 6 months. That's not for me to know right now. I feel like the Lord has told me the first, 3 steps I need to take, and once I get to those 3, 6, 7, 8, they'll fall in next. But until then, I feel like I'm just doing the best that the Lord has told me.
And working with TJ, I've definitely become a lot more open to becoming more religious. I've joined his Discord Bible study.
A Bible study.
Yeah.
A little Bible study on Thursdays.
Okay. All right. So in closing today, talking to people, that's what this podcast is about, getting a different perspective of, why people are here in Raleigh, why they gravitate, why they're able to do business, and just who they are, right? That's kind of my goal. And then allowing my audience better insight into what some people are doing. And so I think that's what we've got today. Guys, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Time is a very precious commodity, and I don't take it lightly that you guys came up here to take part in my podcast. So until next time, good people, this is real. This is Raleigh.